Hello students, in the previous class we tried to understand what are microbes, and today we will see how microbes can be friendly to us. Some of the microbes makes our life easy. They do help us. Like first you can see it there. They help it in making of curd. In making of curd, you are taking little milk, you warm up the milk and you are adding little bit of curd to it, and you are keeping it undisturbed, say for 4 to 5 hours depending on the weather conditions. Now its temperature is high, so it requires less time for the curd formation. The little curd which you are adding to the warm milk, it contains a bacteria which is named as lactobacillus bacteria. This bacteria multiplies in the milk, means its number increases in the milk, and it converts the entire milk into curd. So lactobacillus bacteria helps in curd formation. So see how microbes can be helpful to us. Let's see how this lactobacillus bacteria looks like. Here the person is going to take little bit of curd and he is preparing slide, and with the help of this slide he is going to view the lactobacillus bacteria present in it with the help of a microscope.
इसे देखते हैं हम माइक्रोस्कोप के अंदर। ये देखिए दोस्तों, ये मैंने स्लाइड लगा दी है अपने माइक्रोस्कोप में, जो कि अटैच्ड है मेरे लैपटॉप से ये अटैच है कैमरा के थ्रू। तो चलिए देखते हैं कि ये हमें कैसा दिखता है माइक्रोस्कोप में। ये देखिए, तो ये है दोस्तों लैक्टोबैसिलस बैक्टीरियाज। ये हैं जो बेसिकली रिस्पॉन्सिबल होते हैं जो मिल्क को दही में कन्वर्ट करने में। ये ऐसे दिखते हैं माइक्रोस्कोप के अंदर।
So just now you have seen one of our friendly microbe, that is a lactobacillus bacteria. It helps in the formation of curd. Similarly, other bacteria are also there, other microbes are also there, which are helping us in making other food which we like to eat. Like it help us in making the rava idlis, that is we are adding up little curd to it to make the rava idlis. Bhaturas, very tasty bhaturas also, these are the fluffy substances. Other than this, your idlis, your cakes, all these are being made with the help of microbes only. So here the microbes which are friendly to us help us in making many varieties of food items which are fluffy, which are spongy, like cake spongy, idli spongy. So here this spongy substances also we can make with the help of a process called fermentation. Now to make bhaturas, what we are doing, we are kneading up the maida with little warm water, and we are keeping the dough for say 4 to 5 hours. We are leaving it for fermentation, so that after 4 to 5 hours the dough volume increases, it becomes fluffy, its size increases, its volume increases because of the production of the gas that is called as the carbon dioxide gas. So all fluffy substances are made up like this. Those few activities I'll give it to you. first activity is that you learn how to make curd with milk. Enjoy the curd also increases your immunity, it builds up your immunity, which is very much required during the lockdown period. So try to consume fresh curd daily in your diet, learn it with the help of your mother. And second thing, try to make some idlis batter or the bhaturas dough with the help of this process called fermentation. Here in fermentation, which microbe is responsible? The microbe which is responsible for fermentation is the yeast. Yeast increases, yeast multiplies in the number, and the batter, the dough, increases in its volume. Let's try to understand it with the help of one more video.
In our earlier session, we have learned that we have also learned their role in medicine. Now, let us see some of their uses in old and traditional ways. Fungi is used in the manufacture process of wine or alcohol, baking, cheese, mushroom cultivation. Now, let us learn about them in brief. Manufacture of wine or alcohol. Fermentation is the process in which microorganisms such as yeast and bacteria break down carbohydrates into lactic acid in the absence of oxygen. Baking. In the preparation of process of bread, the ingredients like flour, atta or maida, salt or water to make dough.
So here the dough, it can be atta, it can be maida. We are adding yeast to it. Yeast powder is available in the market. If you don't want to use the yeast powder, you can keep the dough for at least 4 to 5 hours for the batter to rise in volume. So yeast from the air will enter into the batter and it will increase the size of the batter.
Starch gets converted into sugar. The yeast is added to the dough and thus yeast ferments sugar and produces carbon dioxide and dough rises to 3 times of its volume. When the bread is baked, it gives spongy texture and gas bubbles expand. Cheese. Cheese is one of the favorite foods for everyone. Cheese has high quantities of protein, fat, phosphorus, calcium, vitamin A, and vitamin B. In the preparation of cheese, lactic acid bacteria are added to the milk in the process of curding.
Making cheese, that is your paneer, first little bit of curd, that is the lactic acid being added to it, so that the milk will be converted into curd.
Milk. The curd is processed to remove moisture, which is also called as cottage cheese, and salting is done which removes moisture and prevents areas and indoors. Mushroom is a fungal body which produces and releases spores. The common edible mushrooms cultivated in
So a variety of products being made with the help of microbes. So in bhaturas, in idlis, in cakes, the process called fermentation being used. Yeast helps in increasing the size of the dough by releasing the carbon dioxide gas. On a commercial scale, also microbes are being used to make alcohols or wines. So these are being made with the help of products like barley, wheat, rice, and some of the fruits like grapes. So these fruits having natural sugar or starch in it, so microbe will convert this into alcohol with the help of a process called fermentation. So here it is, the definition of fermentation is there, the process of conversion of sugar into alcohol, that is known as fermentation. Now let us see some of the medicinal uses of microorganisms. Microorganisms do help us in making certain medicines. We call them as antibiotics. You must have heard this word, antibiotics. Anti means against. So these medicines help us in fighting some of the diseases. Whenever we are falling ill, we are going to doctor, and doctors are suggesting us certain medicines. These medicines we call it as antibiotics. These antibiotics can be in the form of capsules, it can be in the form of tablets, it can be in the form of drops also, like polio drops, it can be in the form of injections. So these medicines we call them as antibiotics, and microbes only help in making up these medicines. These medicines, either they kill the disease causing microbes or they slow down the growth of disease causing microbes. Antibiotics are those medicines which help us in fighting diseases which are being caused by bacteria or fungi. So some of the common antibiotics are streptomycin, tetracycline and erythromycin. Streptomycin, tetracycline and erythromycin. Common question which comes ki name few antibiotics, so this can be written. So antibiotics, again repeating, these are those microbes which help us in fighting against diseases caused by bacteria or fungi. Now the first antibiotic was discovered by Alexander Fleming, and accidentally he found penicillin. He was working out on an experiment and he found that by mistake a little green mold, which is a fungi, is present there on a plate and which was inhibiting the growth of other bacteria with which he was working out. So it was being found accidentally. One more thing, ki fermentation, that process was being discovered by Louis Pasteur. He also has given one more process, that is pasteurization, that was also being discovered by Louis Pasteur. Fermentation also, that was being discovered by Louis Pasteur. So antibiotics are made from fungi and bacteria only, and a variety of diseases are being treated with the help of this antibiotics. Antibiotics are given to animals also to prevent the microbial infections in them. But antibiotics, it's not like that ki we are falling ill, we are having fever and without doctor prescription we just take an antibiotic. This is not good. We should take antibiotics only and only when the doctor is suggesting us, only on the advice of doctor, and it should be taken under doctor guidance and in the correct dose. Correct dose means whatever dose being suggested by doctor. Say for 3 days or 5 days doctor is writing the antibiotic. So it's not like that ki doctor has prescribed the dose for 5 days and we are just taking for 2 days and we are stopping it. This should not be done. So it should be taken only when doctor is suggesting, plus it should be taken for the number of prescribed days. It should not be taken in the less quantity than that. If we are not taking the prescribed quantity, if we are taking it in the wrong dose, then when the next time you are falling ill, that drug, that medicine will not be that effective. And if we are taking unnecessarily antibiotics, we are taking unnecessarily, then it is killing the beneficial, some of the good bacteria are present in the body. So if unnecessarily we are taking the antibiotics, they may kill up the beneficial bacteria present in our body. So it should be taken only under doctor's guidance and for the number of prescribed days. So correct doses are required, otherwise the next time when you are falling ill, the antibiotics will not be that effective. Let's see video for this.
All these things also need the role of microorganisms. So first let us discuss about antibiotics. Now you would have had antibiotics when you have fallen ill. The doctor gives you a course of antibiotic, a set of medicines which he prescribes to take for a particular number of days, maybe a 3 days course. So even if your fever abates in a day or two, but you still need to continue taking the medicine for the prescribed number of days. For example, if the doctor had asked you to take it for 3 days, you will have to take it for 3 days. So if you look at the word antibiotics, so what does it mean is it is against bacteria, that is against the living organisms which cause diseases. So that's the microbes. So these antibiotics are produced by microbes. And
so this can be the definition. These are the chemical substances. These are the medicines which are being produced by microbes only, which are being made with the help of bacteria or fungi, and they are killing up those bacteria which are causing diseases in our body.
What do? They kill other microbes which are harmful. So antibiotics are useful against viral infection. So you would have observed that when you get fever, sometimes you get fever due to some sort of bacterial infection, maybe some throat.
Antibiotics are helpful only for treating those infections which are being caused by bacteria or fungi. They don't work against viral infections. So if we are having fever which is due to a virus, if you are having flu, influenza, etc., being caused by virus, antibiotics are not effective against viruses.
Infection or some other infection caused by bacteria. So at that time your doctor will prescribe you a course of antibiotic. But if you get a viral infection, that is due to viral infection you got a viral cold or flu, the doctors will not give you antibiotics. So antibiotics can only treat bacterial infections. They will have no effect on the viral infections. So this antibiotic was discovered for the first time by Alexander Fleming. He was a Scottish scientist, and in fact you will be surprised to know that he discovered antibiotic by chance. So he was not performing an experiment to discovery of penicillin. So serendipity with Staphylococcus bacteria. So Staphylococcus is a particular type of bacteria. Coccus are those bacteria which are spherical in shape. So he was experimenting with this particular.
So the first bacteria which was being discovered, that was penicillin. It was being discovered by Alexander Fleming. So unknowingly, he was busy with some other experiment. He was experimenting with a bacteria called Staphylococcus, and it was a spherical shaped bacteria, and accidentally he was able to find the medicine called penicillin.
Type of bacteria. Now what came back later, he observed that
you can see here a petri dish, and on one side of petri dish it is the Staphylococcus bacteria is present. He was experimenting with this bacteria, and accidentally some type of mold growth, like on breads molds are growing, green fungi are growing, so that accidentally it was present on one corner of the petri dish. So what he discovered, what he found, where molds were present, they were inhibiting the growth of bacteria. On the other part of petri dish, yes, the bacteria was able to grow, but where this mold was present, it was inhibiting, it was stopping the growth of bacteria over there. So this is how he found that one microbe can be used to fight against the diseases caused by other microbes. So this is how he discovered penicillin.
Petri dish was contaminated by blue-green that he observed was multiplied really fast. So that means in order to treat bacterial infection also we need something which can inhibit bacterial growth. So that is what he could see here. On this cell culture dish, he could actually find fungi. So this fungi was actually releasing some substance which inhibited or which stopped the bacteria from growing. So penicillin was named after this mold, Penicillium notatum.
So this mold was Penicillium notatum. So when he discovered the medicine, he named it after this Penicillium notatum. He named the medicine as penicillin.
This mold was Penicillium notatum, and after that the antibiotic was named as penicillin. So here if you see, the medicine was prepared from this mold. That is, antibiotic was prepared from the mold, which is a microorganism, which is a microbe. And this microbe is going to kill another microbe, which can be harmful. So that is what antibiotic does. So this is how the first antibiotic, penicillin, was discovered.
So just now you have seen how antibiotics works. They work against bacterial or fungal infections. They are not effective against viruses. So this corona disease, which microbe is responsible for it, that is a virus. That's why antibiotics cannot be given in the case of corona. Now, to fight against coronas, you must have seen in the news, scientists are working. They are making research to make a vaccine against corona, because corona is a viral infection. So vaccines, you must have heard, so vaccines are a type of medicine. It is a type of medicine. It is being given to prevent certain infections. So this is the difference between antibiotics and vaccine, is that antibiotics work against bacterial or fungal infections and vaccines work against the viral infections. And the one basic difference, antibiotics are given once the disease has occurred in the body, but vaccination is being done to prevent a particular disease. This is the basic difference between antibiotics and vaccine. So when a disease causing microbe is entering our body immunity system, they are producing certain types of antibodies. Body immune system, they built up certain antibodies that are being made up of with protein to fight against this disease causing microbes. So if small amount of dead or weakened, not active, so little amount of dead or weakened microorganisms are entered into a healthy body, the body is developing antibodies to fight against those microbes. These antibodies remain in the body, and whenever such microbes, again if they are going to enter in our body in the future, body is ready to fight against them. This is how a vaccine works. So at present many vaccines are there for cholera, for TB, for smallpox, hepatitis, even for cervical cancer, even for typhoid, which works for say 3 years. So different types of vaccinations are available. So vaccines are being given to children. The reason is that so that they may be protected against a variety of diseases. You must have a vaccination card. The vaccination card, just go through it since your birth and maybe till say the age of 10 to 12 years. You are getting different types of vaccines. So go through them. It will help you to understand the vaccines more better. And who discovered the vaccine for the first time? It was the Edward Jenner who discovered the vaccine for smallpox. It was a dreadful disease. So in 1798 he discovered the vaccine against smallpox. Polio vaccination also being done. So you must have seen the ad on the TV. The polio drops are available. You have to take the small children over there. So that polio drops also a type of vaccination being done. Let us try to understand it more.
Happy to know that microbes also help to cure us, like how we studied about antibiotics. So now we are also going to talk about the vaccination process, where we will see that they help us. Our body also has a security system inside which helps to protect the body against any sort of infections. So that is called
a little amount of dead or the weakened microbes, they are being entered in the body, into the healthy body. The body is making some antibodies against them. So if this type of microbes are going to enter the body, again yes, body already have a fighting mechanism in the form of antibodies. So that type of disease will not occur in our body at all.
The immunity of the body. If a person has a very strong immunity, in that case he is less prone to get.
Nowadays also it's being told that coronaviruses are infecting those whose immunity is low. If your immunity is good, body already have antibodies to work out against it. Yes, so you won't have the severe effect of corona in you. And to increase your body immunity, you should eat healthy and do exercise, do meditation, do yoga. It will help in boosting up your immunity.
Infected. Because he is strong, he has a strong immune system, so his immune system get polio. Why? The reason or very weak microbes. So in this case, what will happen? If a very weak microbe, a lot of deadly diseases. So let us try to understand the concept of vaccination. Because assume, okay. So about disease, forget about microorganism, forget about the body. Just look at this example. Then how a creation of memory happens with the help of vaccine. So vaccination is all about creation of a memory of a disease-causing organism, and that is why we introduce a dead virus or a dead bacteria into the body. You want your house to be secured. When I say secure, you want it to be well protected from robbers and dacoits and thieves. So that is why what did you do? You employed one security guard outside your house because you want it to be completely protected.
The security guard we are appointing to protect us from thieves, robbers, etc. Similar way, this vaccination is a type of security guard. It is going to secure us from different diseases.
Now what happens? Let us suppose a thief comes in. So when this thief tries to enter inside this house, this security guard who was standing outside to ensure the security of the house, he gets to know that in order to, he gets to recognize this person or this thief. He gets to know that, okay, fine. So these type of thieves might come and they might try to enter inside the house. But now this time, the thief who has come, he has come without much preparation. Right? So he has just come thinking that, okay, there is just one security guard, so let me try my luck. So that's how he came. So now when the security guard got to know that, okay, this house is very prone to attack by thieves. So what he does, he increases his power. So he increases his immunity. So now what happens is the next time when the thief even thinks of coming near this house, he gets to see that the immunity or the protection system is very strong. So the immune system of the body is very strong now. So what happens, as soon as the thief tries to come near the house, all these group of soldiers, they fight back and send him away. So the same concept is applicable for vaccination as well. So when you apply the vaccine, you are actually sending a very weak microbe which is not capable of causing the disease. But that microbe is capable of creating a memory inside your body. So the same thing happens in case of vaccination. Now when the same
little amount of dead or weakened microbe, if we are entering into the body, that is a dead microbe, weakened microbe, that is not going to create disease in our body, but that is going to develop antibodies in our body, like the security guard, who is going to help us in fighting against the thieves and robbers.
Virus. Now let us suppose if the real virus attacks your body, the real virus or the real bacteria which is capable of causing a disease, now what exactly happens during vaccination? Now as I said, memory gets created and then the same memory is used up in the next time in response to any new thing which is introduced into the body. So here the vaccine is actually introducing a foreign particle inside the body. So this foreign particle is called antigen. And the antibodies are always produced in response to the antigen. And these antibodies which are produced inside our body, they remain inside our body and they will fight any further attack of the same antigen. You got it? So whenever a particular virus enters your body for the first time, so anything which enters your body, that is called as antigen. So when it enters for the first time, so the body by default produces antibodies against that antigen. Okay? These antibodies will remain inside your body. It will sit inside your body silently. So the house had the soldiers or the...
To see here, the thief which is entering, that is the antigen. That is a disease causing microbe that is entering, and body is fighting against this foreign body, that is the antigen, with the help of antibodies. So body produces antibodies in response to the vaccine. Vaccine means small quantity of dead or weakened microbe being entered to fight against diseases. So this antibodies are being produced, that is responsible for our immunity system. Antibodies are being produced, and if further antigens are going to attack, so our body has already developed the system, so we will not fall ill because of that antigens.
Outside the security guards. So in response to these antigens trigger immune response to produce antibodies. So antibodies are created due to antigens. So antibodies are kind of response.
So now we have seen how microbes helps in developing antibiotics and vaccines to fight against diseases. Now we will see how microbes helps in increasing the soil fertility.
Nitrogen is one such nutrient which is base material of protein. Plants get mass due to it. In this video, we will learn about the role of microbes in increasing ammonia, nitrate, and ammonia is a nitrogen-based chemical. It is released in soil by ammonifying bacteria such as Bacillus phromosis. Phromosis decomposes dead organic material and 2. By increasing the nitrate. Ammonia cannot be directly absorbed by plants.
So here see, nitrogen is an essential product for the growth of plants. Nitrogen is present in soil. Plants can't take nitrogen directly from air. Plants can take nitrogenous compounds from the soil, but plants can't take nitrogen directly from air. Our air, as you know, having 78% of nitrogen in it, but plants are unable to take it from the air. So rhizobium bacteria, which are present in the root nodules of the leguminous plants, what they do, they take the nitrogen from the air and they fix it into the form of different compounds in the soil. Now plants' roots can easily absorb these nutrients from the soil. So more nitrogen present in the soil means soil is more fertile.
Nitrifying bacteria such as Nitrobacter and Nitrosomonas help in converting ammonia to nitrates which can be absorbed easily. 3. By absorbing atmospheric nitrogen. Around 78% of our atmosphere is filled with nitrogen. But plants cannot absorb nitrogen in gas form. Microorganisms such as bacteria and algae help in absorbing this nitrogen and convert it to compounds which can be easily absorbed by plants. This process is known as nitrogen fixation.
This nitrogen fixation, nitrogen from the air being fixed into the soil in the form of different compounds which can be easily taken up by the plant roots. This process we call it as nitrogen fixation, and this we are going to study in detail in nitrogen cycle.
Azotobacter, Clostridium,
and all this which you are able to see, Azotobacter, Clostridium, Rhizobium bacteria, all this helps in fixation of nitrogen from air into the soil.
Rhizobium are example of nitrogen fixing bacteria. Various blue-green algae like
blue-green algae also helps in fixation of the bacteria, that is Oscillatoria, Anabina, Nosto. These are the blue-green algae.
Oscillatoria, Anabana and Nostoc also fix atmospheric nitrogen.
So this is how bacteria, that is the Rhizobium bacteria and some of the blue-green algae, help in increasing the nitrogenous content present in the soil. They help in making the soil more fertile. Now the last use we will see, it also helps in cleaning up the environment. When the plants and animals die up, they remain there in the soil and they get decomposed into simpler products with the help of some bacteria only. Otherwise earth will not remain a place to survive. So many waste material will be there. So this waste material being decomposed with the help of microbes only.
Available for the plants is very, very useful for them. So if you simply collect some of the dead plants and animal excreta from your house and from your surroundings, let's see from a garden, and you put it in a pit and cover it for some time, you will observe that after a few days, after a number of days, this organic matter or this dead matter has converted into a substance which you now call a manure. This manure,
This manure formation, that is a humus formation, already we have done in chapter 1. This is one of your activity, that is the compost formation. So dead plants and animals, they are being decomposed by certain microbes and they help us in cleaning up of environment.
soil. So soil, as you know, it contains various nutrients, and the more amount of nutrients, the more the soil is fertile. But when a farmer grows a number of crops on this soil, these nutrients, they get depleted over a period of time. So how does a farmer or how does the soil actually replace complex organic matter into the simpler nutrients? These simpler nutrients, when they get mixed with the soil, they are now readily available for more plants to grow on it. And hence you have just seen how these microorganisms, they are increasing the soil fertility. Now, not just these. Some microorganisms such as bacteria and blue-green alga, they also help the plant to obtain the nitrogen. So what happens? Nitrogen fixers. Isn't that amazing? It's very, very useful for them. So if you simply collect these.
So basically today we have seen how microbes can act in the friendly way to us. They help us in the formation of curd, bread, cheese, etc. They also help in making up of alcohol or wine. They also help in making of antibiotics as well as vaccines. They help in increasing the soil fertility by increasing the amount of nitrogenous content present in the soil. They do also help in cleaning up the environment by decomposing the plant and animal waste into useful component called manure or compost. Now with this, the friendly way it is over. You will get a sheet along with it to solve some of the questions. Stay safe, keep learning.